Personify, which is an AI video technology. It basically applies deepfakes, which do lip sync and voice cloning. I didn't realize this was a career path, that you could go build companies.
Sounds like you figured out your offer and you figured out your audience. Now you just got to focus on scaling and make sure you can deliver.
Since the beginning of my career, I've wanted to bring technology and entrepreneurship together. I have lots of ideas, or had lots of ideas, but none of them felt like the thing that I should go after.
The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I also want to make a big impact at scale. And it always starts with you. Hello and welcome everyone. This is the Founder Scoop. My name is Jacob Lee, and today I have with me Josh Hardman.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Now, tell me, what is your business right now?
So we're building Personify, which is an AI video technology. It basically applies deepfakes, which do the lip sync and voice cloning, but we're applying it to certain segments of video that make a generic video scalable, which enables businesses to contact customers or prospects at scale in a way that otherwise isn't feasible or practical.
Okay, that is really cool. Before we dive in and learn more about your business, I want to learn your personal story and how you got here, because that sounds really complex and it's a really cool idea. So where are you from?
I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Okay, cool.
And I went out to BYU Hawaii for a year and absolutely loved it and never wanted to go back to the cold, but I wanted to get into business management and technology. So I transferred to BYU Provo and ended up staying here just because of the incredible ecosystem that we have out here.
How long were you at BYU Hawaii then?
I was there for a year.
A year.
And did a lot of cliff jumping and attempted surfing. And it was a total blast.
That's really cool, man. So what did you end up studying at BYU?
So initially I was going to study computer science. There's something about the structure of learning computer science in a structured environment that was really difficult for me. So after my first computer science class, I actually dropped that and switched to business.
Nice.
And I just fell in love with entrepreneurship. I took one entrepreneurship lecture series class. Scott Peterson gave that, and I remember just leaving that class just unbelievably stoked. I was just totally pumped, and I was like, I didn't realize this was a career path, that you could go build companies. It really resonated with me, and and that's ultimately kind of where I'm trying to go with my career, but kind of have an interesting story of how I ended up back in technology.
So did you end up doing entrepreneurship as your degree, or?
I did, yeah. So I studied business management with an emphasis in entrepreneurship.
Okay, very cool.
So certified entrepreneur.
That's awesome. Now I saw part of your resume is that you used to be a breakdance instructor. Were you doing that at the same time as your college education?
I did. So back in high school, when everyone else was learning normal sports, practical skill sets, I was practicing riding unicycles and breakdancing and free running, parkour, tricking. So I felt more comfortable attempting head spins on a basketball court than actually playing basketball.
That's crazy.
So when I went to BYU, me and a buddy of mine, we saw Cosmo, and he was breakdancing at a game, and it just clicked immediately. We need to go try out for this thing. That looks awesome. Cosmo is just known for being a really athletic, mascot and dancing and all that stuff. So I ended up doing Cosmo for 4 years while I was there, and it's just an awesome experience.
That's really cool. So has that actually helped you in your career at all, or is that just something you did in college?
I like to say that all the good things in my life have come as a result of breakdance. But Cosmo actually opened the door to tech for me. So I studied entrepreneurship. I was planning on taking a sales job with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And there one day, the CEO of Entrada came to our team at Cosmo and asked for someone to teach him how to breakdance. So I volunteered, not knowing what I was getting myself into, and ended up working with Dave and taught him how to breakdance. And then that turned into an internship opportunity that I had zero qualifications for. But
it's all about who you know.
It really was. So he gave me the opportunity to learn SQL and data analysis. And I learned on the job, had some incredible mentors while I was there. And I was getting books after hours. I lived SQL for that first year, just getting up to speed on things. But it opened the door to tech for me, and I fell in love with it.
That's kind of cool. Like you found an opportunity that allowed you to learn that was different than your college education.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
very cool.
I found two things that I'm passionate about. And since the beginning of my career, I've wanted to bring technology and entrepreneurship together because I think it's such a powerful combination.
That's cool. So did you ever start any businesses while you were in school?
In school, I was a diehard entrepreneur. I had so many ideas. I'd carry around my little idea notebook, and my wife would always laugh at me because I just fill up notebooks with ideas and then never do anything about them. And the execution is hard. And early on, I didn't have any technical skills. I didn't know a technical co-founder to do anything with. So a lot of like bottlenecks and getting something out. So I thought to myself, like, maybe I can get it, if I can pursue this data analysis job, maybe I can get into engineering. And was able to convince the engineering managers that I knew just enough to like start doing junior level programming, and just kept opening more and more doors. And I wanted to gain that skill set in like a professional enterprise environment so that I could apply it to my own startup ideas. And that's what I've been doing in the past 10 years. I always have something going on the side, and I'm excited to hopefully one day just get something to take off. Hopefully it's this one to Personify.
That's awesome. So what was your first business idea that you actually dove in and started building?
Man, first business idea I think I started DevCo, which is my software dev agency, because I have lots of ideas, or had lots of ideas, but none of them like felt like the thing that I should go after. I could always talk myself out of it, but I knew I wanted to start a business. So I'm like, what can I do to just get started? And DevCo is my dev agency, so we started taking on projects for clients. And I actually worked for an employer, and when I left, they asked for some ongoing support. And that was a perfect opportunity to start a company and start bringing on a team to help provide the engineering needs that they had. So that's kind of how it started, and that's led into other projects over the years as well.
Oh, that's cool. So what exactly did you do in that company?
So at DevCo, we've built over a dozen products for startups in lots of different industries. What I love about dev agencies is like when you're running one, it's an intense experience that you learn a lot of life lessons pretty quickly, and you get a lot of experience in different industries. It's really challenging, but at the same time, like it's rewarding because you get to see things grow from scratch, from idea all the way to execution. So we've done stuff in the leadership training development space to building software for solar companies, and brand new startups that had funding. And each one of them, it's like you're in that beginning, really stressful stage with founders and just learning alongside them. And it's a blast. It's fun.
That's really awesome. What would you say are the biggest skills that you developed with this first startup that you started?
So with DevCo, I gained, a lot of battle scars just in running a business. Like owning a business, it sounds like awesome and glamorous, and that's what you see like in media. In real life, it is really tough. When I actually left Entrada, I was a full-time employee with them, and I finally got to the point in my career I was like, I've got to pursue this entrepreneurship thing. I've had this itch for a long time, and it's now or never. It's never going to get easier. So making the jump, like, it forced me to take on maximum risk and just figure things out. So I learned, I guess, how to sell, how to network, how to get myself way out of my comfort zone every day. And I grew a lot as a person, and just gained like some foundational business skills that I think have been really helpful in a lot of different ways.
Now, what was the timeline for this? You worked at Entrada for how long, and then when did you start your business?
I was actually at Entrada 2 separate times. I worked with some startups in between there. I've been all over the place, but I finally made the jump to full-time entrepreneurship. It was about 3 years ago.
And how long ago was it since you graduated?
In 2015. It's almost, is that almost 10 years, right? Yeah. So I had a short-term rental management company, and that's kind of what I jumped to, and had DevCo going at the same time. So that was the little money that I was making to help get us through. I was able to grow that short-term rental company to the point where I was able to sell it or exit, sold it to my business partner, and that just gave me a little capital so that I could go after DevCo full time.
How long were you working on the two at the same time?
That was probably 3 or 4 months. It wasn't super long.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine like that must have been a really difficult time, just because a business, it sucks a lot of your time when you're just starting, and to have two, that must have been pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it's not like I had this like premeditated or planned out. I was at Entrada, stable engineering job, good salary. And I just got to the point I was like, it's now or never, because at this point it's like you just keep growing in your career, your salary goes up, and they call them like the fluffy handcuffs, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna make the jump, it's never gonna be easier. Like the higher your salary goes, the more you have to go make as an entrepreneur to be self-sustaining. So I saw my dad, and he's worked in medical sales his whole career, and he's done really well, but he's had the itch for entrepreneurship and just hasn't quite been able to pull the trigger because he has so many financial responsibilities. And I'm just like I've got to do it now. So I went to Jen. I was like, I think it's time. Like I want to make the jump. Like, what do you think? And she's like, do it. I think she was just tired of me complaining every day after work,
Yeah.
She's like, just do it. I was like, okay. So I put my 2-week notice in, and it made no financial sense whatsoever. And I just had to figure it out. It was really stressful. Like it's hard to even put in words some of the stress that we went through over those 2 years, and had a great first year. And second year was actually much harder than the first because of the economy. And yeah, I mean, there are 2 rules in business. One, don't run out of money, and the second is don't hire a family. So I did both. I broke both rules, and it made for a really stressful second year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? You started like recently, and you have kids as well. I bet they were on your mind this whole time. What was that experience like?
I'm just so fortunate to have a wife that supports me in this. She grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and for her, I mean, like she went through a lot growing up, and for her to still support me in going on a similar path is just amazing. We really prioritize family time, because I know like I can't do it without them. So when I'm home, I try really hard to be present and just be home with them. And when I'm out hustling or after the kids are down, it's like it's game time. So yeah, it's like they're a huge part of the why behind all of it, right? So it's just a matter of like balancing and making sure that I'm not just going completely off into the deep end, and make sure it's a team effort.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that your family is playing such an important role in your journey.
Yeah, I'm super grateful for them, man. Couldn't do it on my own.
So going back to your first company, right, DevCo.
Yeah.
How do you make the connection to where you are now? What happened in between?
Yeah, with DevCo, I mentioned first year we did really well, landed some really awesome projects. And second year, this is, I'm the worst at remembering dates, but this is like interest rates were going up, like 2022, I guess, 2023 maybe. So interest rates are going up, capital is drying up, and investors just aren't investing in companies like they were. And without that liquidity, I mean, companies just weren't able to go after dev projects. So, we're looking around, I'm trying to sell to anyone that I can, and no one's biting. So you can't sell, then you're in a tough spot. But the transition ultimately came in with DevCo. We were building projects for startups. So we'd gone through this process. We understand how to design an application and how to build things. So I was actively reaching out to companies trying to find new customers. And I come from an engineering background, so I was like, how do I stand out? Because everybody is just sending messages, cold emails, like my inbox is flooded. I can't tell who anyone is. Like I'm not standing out. So what I started to do is I recorded my voice in AI and cloned my voice. And I started generating videos, which is like the first version of Personify. And I started sending those out to companies to see if I could cut through the noise a little bit. And I got really good feedback from those. But ironically, people were more interested in how I made the video than in our dev agency services.
That's really funny.
So at the time I was like I might have something there. That was the first time I'd received that kind of feedback. But I was so worried about like keeping Devco afloat. I was like I want to revisit this. So once I finally scaled back my dev agency, I was like, it's time to go after a product. Like, let's see if we can get Personify to take off.
So when did you actually start Personify then?
This is about a year ago that I started working on it and kind of created like a really rough like proof of concept. And I was just sending out my own email campaigns. And then I scaled back as I was focusing on Devco, and now I've picked it back up over the past 4 months here at iHub. And yeah, we're just going full steam ahead and plan to start trying to raise money for it soon. I think we have a really big opportunity that we're going to go after.
So would you say like Devco kind of built Personify?
Yeah. So it emerged organically as part of our marketing needs. At the time, like nothing like that existed. It was really cool to kind of invent a solution that helped us break through the noise. We went through some fun iterations, including like outsourcing stuff to the Philippines. I had someone like stitching videos together for me in the back end. And then I was like, maybe I can just write a script to do it. And that's how it was born. And now we're looking for exciting ways to apply that technology in a market that can really scale.
So what have been some of like the biggest challenges with your new company, Personify?
Video is hard. I've built a lot of software over the years, and video is by far the hardest thing I've worked on. It's complicated. I mean, you deal with like video files, and there's
It's a lot of data. If there's anything I've learned with this podcast is like it takes so much storage space just to store the videos.
Yeah. My computer is like legit overheated a couple times as we're processing these things. But yeah, video is complex. You've got codecs, it's not just frame rate and resolution. There's so many other things that go into it. So taking a generic video and chopping it up into segments, generating lip sync over stuff, adding audio, stitching it back together, adding transitions in an automated fashion, it's hard to do. And it's hard to do well at scale so that it's consistent. So we spent a lot of time like refining that process, because I know like if we can nail like good video generation consistently, that's going to be really valuable in whatever industry or market we go after. So it's like we got to have like a good foundation for the video technology. And I'm excited because I think we have a good foundation at this point. We've received really good feedback.
That's awesome. So how did you fund Personify?
So far, it's all been homegrown. The nice thing is we don't have very high expenses. Engineering is like the most expensive part about getting a product off the ground. And I guess I'm able to, it's still an investment of time, but it's not a direct cost. And I brought on a technical co-founder with me as well. He's actually going to be our CTO because he's way smarter than me at this stuff. And so between the two of us, it's time. But my biggest focus is actually time to market, because AI moves so quickly. And that's a big reason behind why we want to raise money, so that we can just go as fast as we can and capture the market. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now.
That's awesome. So when you expect to be full steam ahead, you're selling?
Full steam ahead selling. So ironically, we have a lot of people expressing interest, and they want to pay us to generate videos. And I almost feel like a little hesitant to service them, because what I have right now it's kind of a manual process. I'm like a printing press. So it's someone has to give me a video and a lead list, and then once it's set up, the videos generate automatically, but then I gotta like, take all the newspapers or books or whatever and like hand it back to them. Yeah. So if I get 20 plus customers, I'm just gonna be swamped, and the subscription revenue is not enough to be like super exciting at that scale. So we've been holding off on like really selling it and focusing more on validation and the technology, because we want to go, we're looking at Shopify as our target right now, and going into that market with the right product with proper funding, and I think we could have a really good shot. So depending on funding, I would love like within 6 months to be selling this thing, and in the next 12 to 18 months to be profitable as a company. So we want to build a team and go really quick and go capture as much scalable revenue as we can.
I like it. What's the go-to-market strategy?
So the go-to-market strategy as of yesterday.
Nice.
So much things changed around here, but I think Shopify is an awesome target. In general, I mean, we've received a lot of interest and done case studies for a lot of different types of companies. And I thought that like something really clear would emerge. It's like, this is where we need to go, but we're getting pulled from like every direction. So we like e-commerce, and I really like Shopify because it's like a tightly coupled platform, and Shopify merchants have the same set of problems, and they're on the same platform, meaning that their data structure is the same. So we create a Shopify app, and it's like plug and play for the same type of customer. So the go-to-market strategy would be to target Shopify Plus owners, so they are merchants that are making more than $1 million a year. And we're gonna reach them through a variety of channels, but either direct messaging, they hang out online, so there are a lot of different ways that we can go about doing this, through social media, targeted ads, or direct sales. Like we can pull a list. We're just gonna go to them, and we're going to use Personify to sell Personify. Send them personalized videos showing like, hey, you can send these to your customers, and you can do it for free up until a certain amount. So go try this out. Do A/B testing. You can verify that the conversion rate is solid and that this is a no-brainer return on your investment. And then they plug it into their Shopify app, and they're loving life because it's bringing in, it's retaining more revenue for them and increasing the LTV of their customers.
That's awesome. Sounds like you figured out your offer and you figured out your audience. Now you just got to focus on scaling and make sure you can deliver.
Yeah, I think the pieces are coming together, and I'm excited to continue to refine the pitch. I think we need to gather a little bit more validation, but we're working on the pitch deck, and we're going to go try to raise some money and make this thing happen. So
imagine you get this funding. What happens next?
Yeah, we want to raise enough money. I think we're going for at least $1 million, maybe 1.5. The milestone is profitability, but we're looking at least 12 to 18 months of operations, and the goal is to never have to raise money again. So that would be enough money to get a team together of engineers, and enough to set aside for like a really healthy marketing budget for our go-to sales motion. And we create our product that's like plug and play, and then we're going to market, getting customers, and just ramping that up to the point where we have self-sustaining growth. And it's enough like rocket fuel to get us to orbit. And then we just keep going from there.
I love it. So imagining far down the road, maybe like 20 years in the future, what's your plan there? Are you still going to be part of Personify? Do you hope to sell? What's your plan?
Yeah, 20 years from now, man, that's a long ways away. I think Personify is a 3 to 5 year play, because AI moves quickly, and Personify is a highly acquirable technology. It's basically like a feature as a company, right? Like video, a scalable video. So I think we could either be acquired by Shopify and brought in, they do 2 to 3 acquisitions a year. Some of them are quite large. And in the e-commerce ecosystem, like something like this would be really valuable to them as well, because they could cross-sell to Shopify customers and acquire the video technology to sell or to bolt onto their current product. So 3 to 5 year would be the goal with Personify for acquisition. But in 20 years, I mean, this really comes to the why behind all of this. And like the reason that I'm doing all of this is because I want to do good at scale. There's so much suffering in the world, and I want to have the resources to be able to do something about it. Like, I really want to help people. So I want to use Personify as a springboard to go create other companies and definitely start like a nonprofit organization as my next step as soon as I can to go make a positive impact in the world, and then continue to add to the economy, open up more job opportunities. Like, there's nothing more rewarding than opening the door for people. That's what I've loved about DevCo. Like, we've helped at least 10 guys and girls like start their careers in tech or design. It's a tough space to break into now, and getting experience on their resume helped them do that. So like, I value that way above like physical things. As much as I love like cool cars and stuff, but that's what really motivates me. It's like, do it. It's like my mantra is like, do it for the underdogs, right? Man, sorry, didn't plan on getting emotional here, but I've often felt like an underdog. I think we all have, and everybody needs a shot, and that's what I want to do at scale for people.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
that means a lot. That really resonates with me as well. Like, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I also want to make a big impact at scale, and it always starts with just one idea.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's really cool, man. Well, when you sell Personify, like, do you have any other ideas for these businesses that you want to start? I know you've got lists and lists of ideas.
Yeah, I'll go back to my college notebook. Sure, there's some good ones in there. I don't at the moment. I've learned that with businesses, what's better than having an idea is like having something emerge organically, because that's where the best ideas come from. I've had a lot of ideas that I think are really, really cool, and no one else cares.
I think that's what's cool about how you validated the idea with Personify is it came to you, and people showed you what they needed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't you like, oh, I have an idea. It's like,
right,
here it is. Do
exactly.
it.
Yeah. Another startup that I actually spent a year working on, it was called Task Grid. And I teamed up with an awesome co-founder, and we spent a year building this software. It was kind of a project management software for dev agencies to manage scope creep and deliverables. And we thought it was the coolest thing ever because we were both dev shop owners. And we're like, yes, like this solves the scope management problem. And then we tried to take it to market and just floundered. Like no one wanted it. And we couldn't even get people to try it for free. And it was because the time to value was so long. Like they would have to run an entire project through this thing to find out if it was helpful or not. So you're looking at like 3 to 6 months.
That's a huge commitment.
It's a huge commitment. Like we probably couldn't pay people to use that, but even if it's good. So I learned pretty quickly that it's like, just because you think an idea is valuable and you would use it does not mean that it's valuable as a company. The other thing I learned there is that a business is sales, and your product, like all that is like it reduces churn. So like that's like first and foremost is sales. Like you could go sell vaporware and your business ultimately like wouldn't go anywhere, but at least it has revenue. But you have zero retention because there's no product to back it. So the product just, it keeps people on your platform, right? It keeps them there. So at the end of the day, you have to have both, but you have to start with sales.
What role has iHub played in your business right now?
iHub has been huge. Just being in this environment, surrounded by other entrepreneurs. I mean, it's infectious. Like you just feel like energy when you're in this space and you're around people that like they have ideas, they're going big. You can bounce ideas off each other. You've got awesome mentors here, and Corbin has just been a phenomenal influence, and I have so much respect for him. I mentioned like my desire to do good at scale. And like, I just get so excited because I see what Corbin's doing here and opening the door for young entrepreneurs here in Utah County. And like, yes, like that's amazing, because that's going to have a massive impact on the economy here, and bringing like massive GDP. You're going to have so many jobs provided, and it's cool and it's exciting to be a part of this. And I hope to be able to give back at some point.
Going back to your why, I think that's one of the things I love most about iHub is everyone seems to have that same motive. They want to do good in the world. And we recognize the way to do it is through entrepreneurship. It's through starting businesses. It's through serving and giving back. And it's amazing to be a part of that kind of community.
Yeah. I think that's what's fun about entrepreneurship, is like what makes a business valuable is that it's providing actual value to someone, right? They want to use your product and they're happy to pay you because they're giving you $1 and they're getting $10 back. Like that's real value. And you get a benefit along the way, and you get to turn around and benefit other people as well. So like, what's this? Business is a spiritual game. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I always think about like the pie example when you talk about zero-sum game versus like the opportunities that entrepreneurship provides.
Yeah.
Instead of like taking a piece of the pie and everyone gets less, you're making the pie bigger.
Yeah.
By creating businesses. And it's
right.
just amazing the amount of good that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the pie analogy too, it's like if you bring on the right people, the pie just gets bigger and bigger, right? So it's an abundance mindset, and it's tangible in entrepreneurship, which is really exciting. You get to think abundance and connect the dots, and it actually is just like it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, is there any other last like lessons learned or anything that you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, don't run out of money. First and foremost, like you have to start with an end in mind. And that's true in any business that you start. I think with Devco, I didn't have an exit strategy in mind, but I did have experience in mind. And that's what I got out of Devco, was very broad experience, and that was really valuable. But when it comes to like creating a startup, something that you're trying to make acquirable, like you have to have a path. Like investors want to see $1 billion company potential, and you have to show them a path to get there. So you just have to start with that end in mind, and let that guide the whole process. You got to listen to customers. I've made that mistake too many times of just listening to myself, and that doesn't work. So yeah, and keep your reason, like your why, at the center of everything that you do, because that's going to push you through the hard times, and there will be really hard times, but they say it's worth it, and that's why I'm still playing the game, and I hope it'll all work out one day. But it's just an awesome ride.
Well, Josh, this has been an awesome interview. Where can people go to learn more about you and your businesses?
Probably LinkedIn is the best place. It's just Josh Hardman on LinkedIn, and we'll have more available on Personify soon. We haven't spent much time publicizing it, but we have getpersonify.com. Just for now, but there will be a lot more coming soon. So that website would probably be the best place for that.
Okay, sweet. Well, everyone go check him out.
Cool. Yeah,
thanks Josh.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been awesome.